What's up, everyone? So today my mission is simple: to remove the invisible barriers keeping you from building the wedding photography and filmmaking business that you truly want, to replace confusion with clarity, and to unlock the incredible potential you know that you have but haven't fully tapped into yet. And I promise by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly how a few simple shifts can help you book more weddings and make a lot more money. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 biggest obstacles holding wedding photographers and filmmakers back from hitting consistent $100,000 to $500,000 years. And most importantly, how to clear those roadblocks for good. Because once you understand what's really stopping you, that's when everything changes. Now, just so you don't think this is just some theory, meet some of our students. So here on the screen, here's Betty Ma from Canada. We recently just helped her book $46,000 in a single month. Here's Dai Young in the UK. We recently helped her hit 6 figures her first year in business. And Faz in Australia, we recently helped them book over $100,000 in 90 days. And Tom Russo and his wife Marley in the United States, we recently helped them scale their team to over $700,000 a year. So these are pretty crazy results. So if you're struggling to hit those $10,000 to $50,000 months, like these students were before, it's because of these 5 obstacles are standing in your way. And we need to destroy these mindset viruses, or you will always be stuck. So let's talk about them. The first obstacle is believing you can do it alone. Now, most photographers don't fail because they're untalented. They fail because they're trying to build a real business with free advice and guesswork. So what does this mean? I heard a story. There was a man who wanted to build a cabin deep in the woods. No crew, no blueprint, just a pile of tools, pure stubbornness. He watched YouTube tutorials, Googled everything. He tried to piece it all together, and he worked nonstop telling himself, I'll figure it out. But the walls were uneven, the roof leaked, the whole thing leaned to the left, and one day he looked at what he built and he realized it wasn't what he dreamed of. It was a patchwork mess built from burnout, guesswork, and too much pride. But why did it end up like that? It wasn't because he was lazy, but because he tried to do it all alone. Guys, you can work really hard and still build the wrong thing. The truth is, no one succeeds alone. Look at some of the top entrepreneurs, even Alex Hormozi, Bill Gates, Grant Cardone. You don't have to like them, but they are successful. And the thing is, they all had mentors. They all followed a proven blueprint before they ever created their own. And if you try to reinvent the wheel alone, you're wasting time you don't have, letting regret creep in, whispering, what if I had just asked for help sooner? If you want to succeed, you have to stop trying to figure out everything alone. So that is obstacle number 1. You believe you can do it all alone. Now let's dive into the second obstacle: lack of resourcefulness. Now, notice I didn't say lack of resources. I said a lack of resourcefulness. Very different. Because if success required having everything figured out and having all the resources lined up, we'd still be living in a basement. I'd still be working as a janitor. But there's a short story I want to share that clearly shows this. And this story isn't mine, but I think it's important. A wedding photographer had a consult with a bride who loved her work. But when they got to the pricing, which was $5,500, the bride got quiet. And she said softly, I want this so badly, but I don't know we can make it work. So the photographer assumed it was over, just another ghosted lead, just another price shopper. But a few weeks later, the photographer got an email. And the email was from the bride, and it didn't just say we're in, but it had a story. The couple worked extra shifts. The fiance sold old gear. They borrowed some money. And the bride wrote, we figured it out. Because this was the only wedding they'd ever have. And that line hit me. We figured it out. Because they didn't have all the money. They had the desire and got resourceful. So if couples can do it for their dream wedding, why can't photographers figure it out for their dream business? To learn ads, to build trust funnels, to dial in your sales? Because here's the real hypocrisy. We expect couples to be resourceful, to invest thousands into us for their wedding day. But we won't be resourceful to invest in ourselves. When it's an emergency, we move mountains. Car breaks down, we find $3,000. Family emergency, we figure it out. But when it comes to our dreams, that's when we stall. Tell ourselves stories like maybe later, when the time is right, I'll think about it. Or we put responsibility on someone else because we're afraid to take on the responsibility of failure, afraid to lead. I need to talk to so-and-so about this. They say no because they don't get it. And you just let someone else destroy your dreams. We stay safe and quietly settle for a life we promise ourselves we'd never accept. You don't need to have everything perfect. You just have to decide your dream is worth figuring out, because at the end of the day, there are two types of people. Those who let circumstances destroy their dreams, and those who figure it out anyway. Choose wisely. You may have a lack of resources, but the most successful entrepreneurs got scrappy and used resourcefulness to get to where they desired to be. So if you have a lack of resources, you must choose to be resourceful. The most successful entrepreneurs have that trait, resourcefulness. Write that one down. That is so important. Now, the third obstacle is believing you don't have enough time. So I was coaching a photographer, maybe making about $40,000 a year, and he said he wanted to hit six figures and multiple six figures. And I gave him the exact game plan to do that. And he said, man, I just don't have the time. I don't want to go through all of that. I got other things I need to do. He was kind of cocky. He had a little bit of attitude, but the reality, he was single, no side jobs beside this, no kids. He had the time. He just believed he didn't. Meanwhile, Ballman, one of our actual students, had a full-time job, a family, and still managed to build his wedding business to $200,000 a year, which helped him quit his job, and he took his family on a dream vacation to Paris. What's the difference? Guys, we're all gonna die eventually, and waiting for life to slow down is a fantasy, because life doesn't slow down, it speeds up. And if you don't learn to build your dreams in the chaos, you'll spend the rest of your life reacting to circumstances you could have outgrown. Time isn't the enemy. Indecision is. Your dreams are on the other side of uncomfortable choices, not perfect conditions. The ones who succeed aren't the ones who had the most time. They're the ones who decided their dream mattered enough to make time. They decided their dreams mattered enough to not just make more time, but to be more resourceful as well. So that is obstacle number 3. You believe you don't have enough time. If it's important to you, you will figure out how to make time. Let's dive into the 4th obstacle that's stopping wedding photographers and filmmakers from hitting $100,000 to $500,000 years and up. That 4th obstacle is a lack of knowledge. Now, if I asked you right now, write and launch an ad in 10 minutes that gets 50 leads in 2 weeks, could you do it? If I asked you to close 9 out of 10 consults this week, could you pull it off? If I asked you to build an automated system that sends 10 to 15 nurturing touchpoints per month to your leads, turning strangers into raving fans, and build a personal brand that turns attention into profit, could you? These are the real skills wedding photographers must know, but photographers run their business on hope strategy, random Instagram posts, praying for referrals, wishing that not leads came through. Hope is not a strategy. Skills are. So I love this quote from Alex Hormozy. He says, the biggest expense that you have in your business is the money you're not making. It's the customer you didn't close. It's the lifetime value that you didn't monetize. It's the margin you didn't improve. It's the experience that you didn't deliver. It's the lead that you didn't generate. Those are the real expenses. End quote. You're not losing because you don't work hard. You're losing because of what you don't know yet. So if you're making maybe $50,000 a year, maybe less, maybe more, but you know you're capable of $200,000 a year, guess what? That's a $150,000 ignorance tax every single year. I'll say that again in the back for those who did not understand that. If you're making $50,000 a year, but you know you're capable of $200,000 a year, what's the difference? That's a $150,000 ignorance tax that you're paying every single year. So the question is, are you willing to make the sacrifices to close the gap in the ignorance tax? Or are you going to keep paying it every year, doing what you've always done, always saying someday, but in reality is you never get any closer to your dreams. You must stop paying the ignorance tax. Do what you can to attain knowledge and skills as fast as you can to pay that tax down. Because before you know it, you're going to be 60, having never taken your business where you truly desired because you never attained the knowledge to pay down the ignorance tax. Lack of knowledge is the biggest expense in your business. Now, the fifth obstacle is fear. You cannot have all of the other 4 obstacles that we talked about, but if you have this fifth obstacle, you will never reach your goals. There's a parable about a man who dreamed of seeing the ocean, and he finally got the chance. He traveled across the country, smelled the salt in the air, heard the waves crashing, but standing between him and the shore, a small, rickety bridge. But the thing was, this bridge was not dangerous. Thousands crossed it daily. But that fear in his head whispered, what if it breaks? What if I fall? Maybe it's safer just to stay here. So he sat down and never crossed the bridge. He never saw the ocean. He didn't lose his dream because it was impossible. He lost it because he let fear win. And that's how fear works. It whispers worst case scenarios like, oh, but what if it works for them, but not for me? Oh, but is there a guarantee? And then it makes small challenges look massive. What if learning ads is hard? What if I'm busy? What if it's more money than I thought? Here's the thing. Fear convinces you that staying stuck is safer than growing. Fear looks for every excuse it can to keep you in comfort forever. Oh, but my friend, my wife, my family, who, by the way, know nothing about what it takes to grow a business, said, oh, maybe later. Fear doesn't keep you safe, it keeps you small. And listen to this. Fear will dress up as logic, as timing, as being responsible. But if you're being honest, it's just hiding your dream behind a mask. Guys, the dream is still there. The real question is, will you cross the bridge? So I just want to wrap this up. These 5 obstacles aren't just ideas. They're silent killers of dreams. Thinking you can do it alone, waiting for more resources instead of becoming more resourceful, telling yourself you don't have enough time, settling for what you already know instead of chasing the skills you need, and letting fear whisper you back into your comfort zone. If you let them stay, those obstacles, you'll wake up a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, wondering why nothing really changed. And deep down, you'll know it wasn't because you weren't talented enough. It wasn't because you didn't have potential. It wasn't because you weren't meant for this. It was because you listened to fear longer than you listened to your future. Right now, you have a choice. You keep doing what you've always done and getting what you've always gotten, or you draw a line in the sand. You can decide that this is your time. You can decide to learn faster, act sooner, move smarter. You can cross that bridge because the dream life you feel inside you, it's not a fantasy. It's a future that's waiting for you. So if you have the courage to claim it, don't let another year pass you by. Cross the bridge, build the business, live the life. I hope this was helpful, guys. Like and subscribe for more. Do not give up. Don't settle, guys. See you on the next one.